been saying go to the mic all week. Here I am. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first annual Off-Broadway production extravaganza of the FUMCR Prothro players here at Pottsboro, Texas, in this place today. You are in for a treat. This is an original presentation that was made for the Richardson Adult Literacy Association and has been performed one time. It was written especially for them, and we have received the rights to perform this here today for you. So it's legal. We're good. This is a non-profit performance. The players, the actors, their checks are non-profit. So we're thrilled there. I would like to, at this time, introduce the producers of this play, if they are available. If you would please stand. Who are the producers? Well, we have Joanne Patrick, Marianne Matthews, Donna Lewis, and we also have, who do we have?
Marianne Whitmer.
We have Nita, who's a producer, but she's elsewhere today. She could not be with us. And we have Brenda Duckett, and she's elsewhere today. She's not able to be with us. So, but give thanks to those producers of the play. I have been especially excited to help direct this play, and my qualification is my co-director and I, Verlene Valentine. Our qualifications are that we saw the play. So this is a good thing. Okay, so without further ado, I think that's all my notes. Without further ado, the play today is called Death's No Fool. Sometimes that might be pronounced Fool. You will listen. You've got to listen for all the lines in this play, because it is cool. On the back, you will notice there is a place to make notes, because you are going to decide who the real murderer was of April Fool. Let's get on with Death's No Fool.
And this, as you recall, Miss Moon, is the drawing room.
Oh, yes, this place. It's alive with the spirit of April Fool. I can sense her everywhere.
Begging your pardon, ma'am, but Miss Fool has been dead these 20 years.
I know.
That explains the decor.
I know she's been dead for 20 years. 20 years ago tonight, in this very room, I was here. You should have been here. Outside of her dying, it was a great party.
I'm sorry I missed it.
As I recall, Frank, you were here that night as well.
Yes, I was. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must see to the door.
Somebody woke up on the wrong side of his coffin today.
He's really a very interesting man for a butler. His name, Frank N. Fool, well, at least that's what he calls himself. He was the Fool's butler. And April, after she was murdered, he changed his name and claimed he was her illegitimate son.
For the inheritance?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. But Philippa denied it, of course.
Of course. So what do you think?
Well, April was pretty wild. There wasn't anything she wouldn't do to have a good time. So I wouldn't put it past her. But if they let me do a seance tonight, we just may find out.
But I thought you told me...
this way, please. Richie Rich and a nitwit.
You call me a nitwit? My name is Annette Wit.
Indeed.
I'm Caroline Moon, spiritual medium and seer of the ages. And this is my assistant, the medium in training, Enigma.
Oh, Miss Webb. Oh, I read your column every Sunday.
Just
Are you a writer?
I'm a thirsty journalist. Just a minute.
Thirsty journalist.
She
I'm a journalist.
writes a gossip column for the Society page.
Okay, hold on. That was good. You know, what happens in the lives of the rich and famous is news. Are you familiar with Carolina's work?
I'm not really, but as a general rule, the church kind of shies away from witchcraft.
I'm not a witch, I'm a medium.
Oh, please, you haven't been a medium in years.
Frank, young fool. He has to get tired of walking.
Her Honor, Judge Cecilia Fate and Mr. Big Ken Folks. Actually, that's just plain Ken. I'm sorry, sir. I must have mistaken you for someone else.
Probably a golfer. I just got off the golf course and came to this meeting.
Your Honor. It is so good to see you again.
My, you're liable to see anyone at one of April's parties, but then you would know about libel, wouldn't you?
Kind of chilly in here.
It sure is, big kid.
Looks like we're in for a fun night. Frank, you have to say it again.
He's slow.
Here you go.
Walk this way. They're all following his lead.
Stop that!
But you said,
Well, that's not what I meant.
I know you are. Well, what am I?
Mrs. You're a pain. I'm blue.
I know you are, but what am I? Dr. Loon, are you the famous psychiatrist? Psychologist. You may be thinking of Dr. Looney, the noted psychiatrist. He's my half-brother and a different mother. But if you both have the same father, wouldn't you have the same last name? Yes, we would. It's a big house.
Well, did everyone get an invitation?
Yes.
Well, mine was signed April Fool. But how in the world can that be? April's been deceased for 20 years.
It's obviously a joke.
Maybe, maybe not.
Here you go.
Miss Isa Fool.
What a lackadaisical introduction that was. Well, the gang's all here.
otherwise known as the usual suspects.
Meow, somebody get a bowl of milk and a scratching post.
Suspects?
You all will
I don't think anybody here is a suspect.
she was murdered.
Excuse me, I wasn't. I was not here.
No, I guess not. I definitely would have remembered you.
Oh, you were here too, Mrs. Fool. But it was geriatric who killed your mother. That was proven in the courtroom. I sentenced him to 20 years in a hospital for the criminally insane.
Yes, and he was released yesterday.
Time off for good behavior.
Here he goes.
Philip Fool in police school. That is Foulet. Pardon me. Foulet, Foulet, and Foulet, Foulet. How poetic.
Hello, Mom.
Don't call me that. I'm not your mother.
You barely old enough to be my little sister. It's a disgrace.
That's enough, Isa. Be quiet. Just shut it. That was ad libbing.
Of course, Father knows I wouldn't want to upset your mistress. Oh, I mean wife. After all, it's past her bedtime.
Philippe, why are you throwing a party on the 20th anniversary of your wife's death? That seems very, very bad taste.
I'm not
Speaking
behind
of
this.
taste,
I received an invitation. I think all of us received invitations. didn't we? I received an invitation just like the rest of the people
I know.
here.
I
And I
think
don't
it's
think it's
hilarious.
very funny. You think it's hilarious?
I think it's hilarious.
Just like your mother, I can tell. Just like your mother, your dead mother.
I'll take that as a compliment. Sorry, was a barrel of laughs.
Well, geriatric did it, you know.
Somebody stabbed her to death.
No.
He's Isaac.
It's like all my children, someone's supposed to say.
Why
are we here? Why are we here, Frank? Who sent the invitation?
I honestly don't know. The house was rented for the night, and I was hired to host. There's one more guest set to arrive, but he's late. I was instructed to ask you to separate throughout the house. Hors d'oeuvres and drinks are in the other room.
This is ridiculous. We're leaving, my dear.
I'm afraid that's impossible. Sir, I just received word that the violent storm has knocked down trees. The utility poles, all the roads are closed in Denison and Pottsboro. I'm afraid we're all stuck here until the authorities can send help. I've contacted them. Until then, I suggest we do as we're instructed.
Get out. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Got me too. Oh, is this the other guest?
Mayor, I don't know why that you talked me and accepted this invitation. This is the last place I want to be.
Jerry, trust me,
If we're going to prove your wrongful imprisonment case, this is the best place to be. The house where the murder actually took place.
But can't you do this alone?
Are you kidding? This place is scary. I mean, I need you to help me to show exactly what happened.
I've spent 20 years trying to forget.
Where's the buffet? What kind of party is there without a buffet?
Here he comes.
Roger's getting his steps in.
The buffet is in the other room, and the drinks are over here.
We serve
Help
ourselves.
yourself.
Well, but
I'm afraid I didn't see you all come in. I hope you haven't been waiting long.
actually, we've been around here a pretty good while. We were searching the other room.
What's the other room?
I think he means us.
No, it's not.
Such a
Oh, he's such a kid. But the roads are closed. We swam.
What are you doing here?
It's me.
What is he doing here?
It's my understanding that he is the guest of honor, sir.
guest of honor. Is there a prize involved? Maybe cash?
On the next page. You're a murderer. You're a murderer. That's what who you are.
Don't have your hand up. He's dead.
Oh, crap. Come on, Bear. Bear, I told you this wasn't a good idea.
So that's what it meant.
What meant?
Delay.
They died again. They're dead again. What was it, catering?
No, this wasn't supposed to happen.
This wasn't supposed to happen?
Was it the catering? You should never go cheap on the catering.
Oh, it's your invitation. It says, "A fool and his mistress are soon parted." And it's signed, April Fool. And it looks like your signature.
But she's been dead for 20 years.
Nonsense. I saw my mother buried. I don't care what this invitation does.
Miss Fool! Miss Fool!
Food light.
No, it's Fool. Oh.
Cheer to fall down into two dead.
She's dead.
Your idea of dead and my idea of dead are like totally different.
Frank, she's just back.
That reminds me of this woman in the East Wing, room 313. She was a child killer, but she could make the best lemon drop cookies you've ever had.
Listen to this. Mommy loves you, darling. See you soon.
Let me see that card. Ah, is it Hallmark? I tell you, it is.
I knew it, I could feel it.
Was it a premonition?
No, I think it was the tuna, it was bad.
I checked the pulse of the rich and I You're dead.
You gonna check the old, or you gonna just take it for granted? You're obviously not very good at that. Just read her invitation.
Okay.
In the end, our futures are all the same. April Fool. April Fool.
What's going on?
Wait.
I feel sick.
No.
Oh, my head.
No.
Oh, my God, I'm gonna die.
Oh my gosh, he just dropped like flies.
Frank, it must be you.
No, the invitations.
Betty Virtue. Alice Richards, it can go down?
Invitations. These are so cryptic and funny. You don't have to go over there. We don't have time to explain it. You know, this has been like Ben-Hur. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. I didn't do it.
You! It must be you!
I think I'm just gonna go now.
There. No. It can't be me. I swear. Or could it? I've been surrounded by homicidal maniacs for 20 years. Who knows what's real anymore? But still, you'd think I'd remember planning a mass murder.
It's the champagne! The champagne!
Oh, great. Now it doesn't matter if I'm guilty or not. I'm the only one left. I'm not taking the rap for this. Ooh. Oh, that's bad stuff. Champagne. Taste. Baby.
April Fool, they're all dead. I'm sure you're wondering what's going on around here. We're going to take you back now and show you some flashbacks of what happened in conversations prior to that party that night. Now, of course, conversations between Jerry Etrick and the barrister happened prior to their meeting in Frank. Now, what we're going to do is take you back into some of those conversations so that you have a better idea of who might have created this diddly party. Okay. And as Betty had mentioned before this whole play started, you have in the back some scenes that are coming up. Scene 1 through 7 with some area that you can draw some notes there. And we're going to, after this, we're going to have you get together in your groups and see if you can come up with who the actual murderer is. And we'll come back and talk about that. Right now, though, here comes the flashback.
Surprise guest, huh? Look, Sarah, watch it. You're perfect. You're perfect.
Wow, there's so much to see. It sure would be nice to be able to go down the lake if the storm would stop. Look at all these books. I wonder if they have a library in one of these rooms. It's such a big place.
Well, they're mostly mysteries. April loved mysteries.
That's pretty interesting. You know what? There's something that I just don't understand.
I've come to expect that.
You said that if they let you do a seance tonight, that you'd be able to figure out if Frank is April's illegitimate son.
That's right.
But you told me that everything that we do is fake.
Andy, when will you ever learn? Truth is relative. It's all a matter of perspective. We live in a world of alternative facts where everybody else's everybody else's news is fake. Except for the news that you choose to believe. That's the new normal. America has lost its grasp on reality, and it's not getting it back. That's good for us.
But I still don't get it.
Bless your heart. Look, we know what we do is fake, but our clients believe in it. So to them, it's the truth. And as long as we tell them what they want to hear, they'll continue to believe in us. It's how con men make a living. And as we all know, it's how politicians get elected. The facts and reality don't have anything to do with anything.
But I still can't help but think it's wrong.
No. We make them happy. I never tell them any bad news. When I do, they don't pay me.
But how can we, as fake mediums, find out if Frank Fool is April Fool's illegitimate son?
The same way we find out everything we use in a seance. We become private detectives. We
Yeah.
snoop, we pry, we question.
But we usually get that from the client, or their closest friends and relatives.
What do you think I've been doing?
Snarfing down a little tuna fish sandwiches, drinking mostly.
those things. But really, I've already found out. I asked Annette Witt, the gossip columnist.
Oh, yeah.
She and April were like this until their feud.
Okay. You? Well, gosh darn, woman. Can't you stop drinking for 1 second and tell me what you found out?
Sorry. Annette said it was about 40 years ago, several months after Isaac was born.
Okay.
April started gaining weight.
Really?
And it was pretty obviously a baby bump. Annette kept waiting for them to make an announcement. Instead, Philippe and April took a trip to Europe. Philippe came back, but April stayed for several more months. And when she did come back, well, she was a lot thinner.
But that doesn't prove that it was Frank.
Well, no. But he did move to town about 20 years after that, using a totally different name, of course. He was a young man, barely 20 himself. Nobody knew where he came from. He went straight to their house. He didn't collect $200. He didn't pass go. Right to the door. They didn't have a butler. They had a cook and a maid. They didn't need a butler. But they hired him like that. What do you think?
Well, do you think that he killed her?
His own mother? Oh, I doubt that.
But she never claimed him.
Well, maybe not in public. But if the family knew who he was, Philippe and Isaac, those, in my opinion, are the best suspects. Good Lord.
What?
I'm out of champagne.
Well, I'll get you a glass. You don't need much. What's in your glass? Oh, this one's okay for you.
Just right for a lady.
Yeah. It's your turn.
Do you think that April actually sent those invitations?
No, of course not. We both saw her being buried. You know, you were there, I was there.
Well, you know, it was a closed casket. I never could figure out why. But she was stabbed in the back. According to Dr. Prothro, that is.
Well, it was in her will. She didn't want anybody to know her as a dead body. Nevertheless, we were both there. We saw the casket lowered into the grave.
You know, taking your mistress to your wife's funeral, you always were a class act.
Well, I couldn't show up without a date. The boys at the club would never forget it.
Very, very funny. But seriously, Philippe, why weren't we considered suspects?
Well, honey, we're rich.
Oh.
And rich people are never caught. If they're caught, they're never convicted, you know, and we're rich.
Oh, good. But I wasn't rich then. I was lame. We were fooling around. We were both there the night of the murder.
Well, do you want to be considered as a suspect? I'll see if I can call the phone here and get someone started on it.
You know, you married me 2 weeks after you buried her.
I know.
So why weren't we the prime suspects?
Well, I said once again, would you like to be considered as a suspect? I can phone the police and start it.
Philippe, stop it.
Phyllis Dawn, the police had a lot on their mind. And when you hand up a suspect who has been in the mental hospital, who has a weapon, a knife on him, and you hand it to, and besides they're busy, but when you hand that to the police, they're going to take off and run with it.
But it just seems so unfair.
Do you want to be tried for murder?
No.
I've never been tried for murder, and I don't think I particularly like it. You know?
No, of course not. I'm just saying that that poor man spent 20 years in a mental hospital on nothing but circumstantial evidence.
Well, pretty good circumstantial evidence if you ask me, don't you think?
But it could have been anyone. We were playing those dreadful games. We were all in costumes and spread out all over the house. April was the only one that was in the drawing room.
And geriatrics crept up behind her back and stabbed her in the back. That's the way it happened. Geriatric murdered her.
But April had been feuding with Judge Fay and Annette Witt. And don't forget what she did to Ken Folks. Plus, she and Isa were always arguing about money.
Excuse me. Isa may be a horrendous pain in my posterior, but she would never murder her own mother.
You know, daddies are always the last ones to know what their little girls are capable of. Believe me, I was my daddy's little girl. You should have seen some things I did.
I prefer not to know. I told you that before. I prefer not to know.
Are you sure? Because I could write a book.
I'm sure you could. And why? Hey, why are you suddenly so excited and involved and wanting to know about this geriatric deal? Is there something I should know?
No, we don't know that.
Well, why do you know something that I don't know?
I just don't know. I just don't know. Well, good. It's okay. It's okay. Well, outside all of this tension, it has been a lovely party.
Well, why don't we return to it, my dear?
Oh, okay.
So, you're a judge, huh?
Yep, I'll judge anything. Livestock shows, beauty contests, anything. My neighbors?
It is funny, right?
What is?
Never mind.
So,
Continue.
who do you think sent those invitations?
Well, I figured it was probably somebody who was here that night. Someone with a sick sense of humor.
There was no sicker sense of humor than April.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Do you remember that time that she replaced all the sacramental wine at the Catholic Church with Jack Daniels?
That was funny.
Joke was on her, though. They pretended not to even notice until the last drop.
And what about that time when she broke into one of the fire stations in that forest preserve and painted all the trucks camouflage?
Oh, that was great, but bad, very bad. And what about the time she convinced that naive young man that she was going to invest in his business idea, and on her name alone, he lined up a lot of other investors. Then, the night of that party, when he thought she was going to sign the contracts, she said, "April Fool!" and the whole deal fell apart. All the investors pulled out. He was totally humiliated.
That wasn't all that
president of the Golden Cross Board of the Methodist Hospital, and now you're president of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, yes, and I'm a golfer too.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget that.
Well, they say in business, no experience is bad. We learn from it all.
Yes, but there's lots to learn from having your heart ripped out and your soul crushed.
Now, it's a good thing they had so much evidence on Jerry Attrick. You certainly had a very good motive to what April did.
Well, maybe. But remember the time she took some photos of that very prominent woman staggering out of a smoke-filled limo in front of a nightclub on Deep Elm with 2 lipstick-covered male models, half her age, and an empty bottle of Dom Perignon? That's French, you know. It was a local judge, I believe, and then April put those pictures on a billboard all over the town, and the judge was running for mayor.
Oh, I can explain that. They were my nephews, and there was a fire, and we put it out with Dom Perignon and lipstick.
Ruined the election for you.
Yes, it did ruin that election for me. Well, that, and the fact that I had absolutely no qualifications for running a city, but all the power I would have had and the prestige. Woo.
Hindsight, right? Sounds like a pretty good motive, though. The murder happened right in the middle of your feud, and you just happened to be there that night.
Oh, just coincidence.
Maybe, but I'm still surprised you never recused yourself. I mean, after all, technically, you could be a suspect.
In retrospect, I probably should have recused myself, but I just didn't quite see the point. The evidence against Jerry Attrick was so clear, and it would have added unnecessary time and cost to the state.
Yeah, I guess. But I can't help but think you're all being set up for something tonight. Something very bad.
Oh,
evil.
Please. Free food, free champagne. What could go wrong?
Big.
What could go wrong?
You know, I love champagne. The little bubbles in it, the sweet taste, just like wine. The cheaper it is, the better you like it. Until it starts tasting like cleaning fluid. There's a fine line there.
I guess.
So I understand you're the Assistant Superintendent of Pottsboro Independent School District.
Yes, I am.
I also understand the Fool family has always been very friendly to our school district for many years.
They have donated lots of resources to the school through the years, and yes, they're very, very generous.
Yet April and Philippe only had one child.
Well, just depends on who you talk to.
And bless her heart, never been married or had any children, has she?
No, but you have to remember, Philippe come from a large family, and they were spread all over town. There have been fools in the school for as long as and there still are.
How interesting. You were close to April, weren't you?
Yes, I was very close.
You were also here the night she was murdered, right?
Yes, I was, and it was a horrible night.
How exactly did you meet her?
Well, the only thing I can remember about April was that she took reading very seriously. And she loved mysteries. And I loved mysteries also. And when I was young, new, and just bright-eyed, didn't have a care in the world, I was a teacher back then. And April was one of the richest, women in town and one of the most glamorous. So no, there's really no reason for us to be friends except for the books. And so one time, I think it was a Saturday, we joined the Whodunit Book Club. And we were both there. And so it was just so exciting that I was with her. She was so rich and so glamorous. And when she invited me to a party to her beautiful home, well, I just had to say yes.
What kind of mistress did the old girl like?
Funny you should ask. She liked the ones with unforeseen twists. For example, the detective is the murderer. Or perhaps the person who died wasn't the one who everyone thought. And it turns out the suspected victim was actually the murderer.
Oh, that would be a shocking twist and very confusing. I prefer my killers to be the butlers. Much easier that way, but it's not unheard of for people to fake their own deaths.
Well, weren't you there the night of the murder?
Yes, I was.
Well, were you one of April's friends?
Oh, the fun we had doing all the usual activities at all the general places that friends do them at. And there was lots of drinking. You know, we drank a lot.
Mm-hmm. I remember that about her. She was an excessive woman.
That's true. I remember her telling me, I'm a loon. If I can't live life to excess, I'd rather not live at all. Now that I think about it, she might have had some major issues.
Well, it sounds like a cry for help to me.
Where?
No, I mean, never mind. You testified at Jerry Attrick's trial, didn't you?
Yes, as an expert. It was my testimony that convinced the judge and the jury that Jerry Attrick was a homicidal maniac.
Well, what did you do to convince them?
Well, just look at him. You can see it in his eyes.
That's it?
Well, yes. Well, no. He'd been my patient most of his life up to that point. You see, from the time he was 8 until the time he turned 14, he had a pet named Steve. He took it with him everywhere he went and talked to it as if it were human.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, Steve was a fern. A rhododendron, to be exact. He took it inside a restaurant once and bought it a steak. Steve died when Jerry Attrick's mother overwatered it. Jerry Attrick suffered from severe depression from that time on and mother issues.
But still, a homicidal maniac?
I asked him one time what was his favorite Christmas present, and he said, a fruitcake. I said, why? He looked at me right in the eye, and he said, because I love the taste.
Yeah, I know he did it.
This is going to make a great column. I'm going to start writing here. A great column. Who do you think's going to crack first? Have you ever seen so many people so wonderfully on edge?
A lot of people on edge tonight, but you know, that's not always a bad thing. Some people get to the edge and reach out for salvation. But more often than not, that's not the case.
What are you saying? Is somebody just going to kill everybody? That would be a story. I could take pictures with something like my phone, I guess. I could get a Pulitzer Prize for this story.
Not to be judgy, but you really shouldn't delight in the suffering of others.
Oh, my goodness. You're not familiar with journalists, are you? People's suffering is our business. No news is really bad news. That's our motto. So, when it all comes down, I need to know everybody's name that's here. Let's start with you. Let's see. Your name is Witchy Witch?
It's Richie Rich. And as I recall, you are a nitwit?
Read my lips. A nitwit, sir.
Ah, yes, the gossip columnist.
Gossip. I am a society columnist. That's the rich and famous. You know what they call us? Paparazzi.
Maybe, but from my perspective, it all boils down to gossip, which, as you know, is a sin.
My. So I've heard. Tell me, Reverend, you're an intelligent, educated man. Who do you think's behind all of this?
It's hard to tell, but I do have some guesses. I think, when it's all said and done, it's going to be someone who is tortured or desperate.
Really? Why do you think that?
Well, someone who's tortured has a tortured soul. There's an unrelenting guilt that's driving them, and they're trying to exorcise those inner demons.
What about the desperate part?
Oh, well, that's just what it sounds like. Someone who has a desperate need, like a gossip columnist for a juicy story.
I don't buy it, sir. By the way, you were here the night of the murder, weren't you?
I was.
You were here. You were at the fool's house. I didn't know they were church-going people.
No, they weren't.
Oh,
They
you
were
gotta
of
write
the-
that down.
What they were of the unfortunate fools that believe they can buy their way into heaven. Now, I tried to tell them again and again, but they would not listen.
You know what else I recall? She left the church a lot of money. In her will, she left a lot of money, didn't she?
She did. It was a sizable sum.
Your testimony at the trial was very damaging for geriatric, sir.
Hey, I just told what I saw. 4 a.m. in the morning, there was Geriatric out in the church parking lot, passed out in his car, reeking of alcohol, covered in blood with a bloody knife in his hand. Now, I didn't assume he was guilty. The law made that determination.
You know, what in the heck were you doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning, sir?
I just couldn't sleep. But I recall also about that time, a week or two before the party, that there was a little thing at the newspaper. April paid your paper to be a special 1 week only guest gossip.
Spit it out.
1 week only guest gossip columnist. Phew, what a story. She broke the story of the other local gossip columnist and the torrid extramarital affair. I still remember. You still remember the headline?
No.
Local journalist goes undercovers. My understanding is that the ensuing divorce cost you quite a penny.
A lot. It was exciting under those covers, too. I thought you didn't believe in gossip.
I don't. But, the It is an unruly evil filled with deadly poison.
Who said that?
James chapter 3, verse 8.
Was he a journalist?
He was indeed.
You know, that nitwit is really an alcoholic. I didn't even know she drank until I saw her sober one day. Speaking champagne?
Oh, yes, I love some.
Well, let me get you some.
All right.
That's twice. But,
What's your religion?
join you? No. No, I don't join you. I don't drink. I was reared a Baptist. And we learned at a very young age not to drink in front of one another.
Where's my champagne?
Right here.
Well, what happened to the rest of it?
It evaporated.
It evaporated.
That's not in here.
Come on, can't Alicia share a drink with her little brother? I mean, you are supposed to be my little brother, aren't you? That's your claim.
Yes, I am. A half-brother.
Really, I don't believe it. If I were your sister, then this wouldn't affect you at all. What is this? What is this?
It's not a subpoena.
Oh, my stars. It's a DNA test. He's my brother.
Yep.
You are my brother.
Yep.
I don't get it. How long have you known this?
All my life.
Well, how long have you had this evidence?
As you may recall, our mother was a maniac.
Oh, yeah. Whoop.
When I came here, she made your father give me a job with a very nice salary. But she knew her wild ways would probably do her in at a young age. And when that happened, she knew Philip would cut me loose as soon as he could. So, she set up the DNA test and paid for it herself. That was 3 months before she was murdered.
Uh-huh. And true to form, dear old Dad did fire you the day after she was murdered.
And that's when I changed my name and made my claim public.
But you never provided the proof.
I showed it to the man who needed to see it. I know your father's type. He's a narcissist. Why did they ever call him a flower? It takes a while. He didn't care about our mother's reputation at all. He was only concerned about how her infidelity would reflect on him.
Now that I know you're not just a gold digger, I am glad you're my brother. You are so cool. So did his temples flare? Did he turn red? Did he grab his chest and take a pill? I made him do that a lot.
Yes, he did all those things. He also looked towards the heavens and said, "This is the big one, Elizabeth." Which I do not get. So anyway, we cut a deal. He gave me a rather huge sum of money to never speak of it again, as long as he was alive. After he's dead, I'm free to make this paperwork public and make a claim on the rest of this estate.
Smart. But wait. That means when he dies, we'll be fighting over the inheritance.
Don't make, I'm sorry.
Don't make me go all Dallas or Knots Landing on you, brother, because I will.
Well, he's already given me a huge sum, and I want a small additional amount, maybe $1 million or so. Plus, public acknowledgement of who I really am, so I can shake that gold digger reputation I got after making the public claim without showing the proof. Then you and police can fight over the rest.
It's going to be a great fight, too. Lawyers, guns, fashion, singing clowns, and pyro, baby. Lots of pyro. Our faces in the paper every day.
Sounds fun. So who do you think is behind the party?
The real killer.
You don't think it was geriatric?
No, I grew up with Jerry. Went to the same schools. He wouldn't harm anyone or anything. He'd chew a fly instead of swat it. Not to mention the fact he had absolutely no motive. That's why they had to go the insanity route. He was definitely set up. I just wish I knew by who.
Well, me too. Well, I have to go. I've got one more guest to greet. And just to let you in on the ground floor, with my $1 million, I'm thinking of running for president.
All the best, all the best.
I don't like this at all,
You keep saying that.
because I really don't like this at all.
Now, tell me again. Why were you there that night anyway?
April and my mom were friends. We lived in the same neighborhood. I'd gone through school with Isaac. Of course, we were out of school by that time. I was 21. I'd been working at my dad's practical joke supply warehouse for a couple of years, a junior management position.
Your dad owned a practical joke supply warehouse?
Yes, April was one of our biggest customers, and we lived only a few blocks away. That's how she and my mom got to be such good friends. Our whole family was invited that night. We were always invited to April's parties.
Were your mom and dad there that night?
No, they were in the Caribbean at the 15th annual Jamaica Joke-Off.
What?
The Jamaican Joke-Off. It's a big convention held every year by the Association of Joke Suppliers in conjunction with the Whoopee Cushion Manufacturing Union. It's usually pretty boring. So I skipped that year. April's parties were always more exciting.
Yeah, those must have been great parties.
Yeah, that last one was a real killer.
Keep looking.
What? Too soon? We're not going to find anything. That was 20 years ago. I'm sure the police searched this thing from top to bottom.
I doubt it. Somebody handed you to them on a silver platter with all the circumstantial evidence they needed. They weren't going to waste any more time digging up any further.
I guess.
Now, what kind of party was it?
A death party.
A death party?
Yeah, everybody was supposed to show up in their best. death costume. I came with the old version of the seventh seal of death, whose face is visible but covered in robes. Needless to say, there were a ton of idiots running around in black robes and scream masks. No imagination.
Where exactly was she murdered?
In the drawing room.
Who else was in there?
Just her. And the murderer, I guess. She was doing a scavenger hunt. We were looking for an envelope that was supposed to have compromising pictures of one of the guests.
Interesting. Who was in those pictures?
We never found out. I think she was murdered before anybody found her.
No, Jerry, don't you see? She was probably murdered because somebody found her. You know, the person in the photos.
Huh. Well, that makes sense.
Was April in the costume too?
Yes.
How many people saw her body?
Well, not many. Frank, he found the body. And Dr. Prothro, I guess.
Dr. Prothro. Wasn't he the coroner back then?
Yeah. He was a funny old guy. Big gambler. Raging alcoholic. Killed himself about 2 months after the trial. You know, in retrospect, I guess he wasn't all that funny at all. In fact, he was probably a little bit tortured.
So, Dr. Proctor was a guest at the party?
Yeah, he and April were good friends.
And he and Frank were the only ones who saw the body?
Yes, until it was taken away.
Wow. Either things are getting clearer, or they're getting much more confusing.
Okay, we have about 20 minutes, so try to stick to that if you possibly can. First thing you do is to go to the dining room through this door and get your dessert. Second thing you do is find your group, because we're going to do this in groups. In fact, one of you in the group might want to give one of those signs so you know they're all set together. Anyway, your task after you get your dessert is to talk among each other and try to figure out who did it. And then come back here in 20 minutes and we'll talk about it, okay? Through those doors, 20 minutes, dessert.
Okay, so we are stuff.
Wait a minute. I'm not dead. What's the deal? Now it's all making sense. I know who did it. I wonder how many of you all know who did it. Now, even though you voted as a group, some of you individually might differ with your group's opinion. So, let's just figure this thing out together. First thing is this. I was chosen to be fall guy 20 years ago because I meant nothing to the person who chose me. It wasn't personal. It certainly was to me. But not to them. Because they barely knew me. And I think the person that set me up 20 years ago and the person that's setting me up now is the same person. Now, who thinks it was my lawyer? Barrister. Any takers out here?
Yeah.
Well, sorry, not Barry. He was merely a child. Hey, I didn't feel the actors out. Besides, he wasn't even at the party. Okay, who thought it was Dr. Amalu? I'm alone. I'm alone. You know, like most psychologists, she is certifiably insane. But she and April were very close. Who thought Dr. Mooney was our guilty party? Anybody? You're right, she wasn't. How about European? Anybody think European was our killer? Nobody? You're right. She was a young school teacher, plus had absolutely nothing to gain from murdering her new wealthy friend. Okay, well, this is going to get interesting. Who thought it was our good Reverend Richie Rich?
Yes.
Ah, a bunch of you, school groups chose Richie. You're wrong.
Too bad.
Would a preacher do something like this? Especially a Methodist preacher? No, it's true the church was given a good sum of money, but unless I'm wrong, the church kind of looks down on killing people, even for profit. Okay, who thought it was Annette Witt, or as we call her, Nitwit? Got a bunch of choosers here, and there she is. You're wrong. April actually caused her a costly divorce, but she's still a powerful woman with a great career. Committing murder would have jeopardized that, so it wasn't Annette. How about Judge Celia Fate? Where is our good judge? Oh, she's old. I know where she is. Well, like Custer's last stand, he took a long way off tonight. How many thought he was the judge? Here come the judge. No. April ruined her shot at mayor, but Celia Fate of all people would not want to risk getting thrown in prison with a bunch of people she put there herself. Understandable? How about old Ken Folks over here? Anybody? Hey, he's a big man in Pottsboro. But he wasn't the killer. He didn't have a motive. The crime really was premeditated, and he didn't find out about the done deal until right before she was killed, so he couldn't have done it. I's a fool. I mean, too late. Isa, where are you?
No.
Who thought it was Isa? She's April's daughter. She loved her mom. Oh, they argued on about the same thing, but you know, like kids and their mom, they don't disagree about things, especially money. So she couldn't have done it. Philippe or Felice. Maybe we're going somewhere here. Who thinks Philippe was the killer?
Philippe raises his own hand.
We've got a few takers on him. Okay, how about, if you didn't think Philippe, how about Felice?
Yeah.
We've got some takers here. Wrong on both. Yeah, they were having an affair. I thought that was true. But both of them were happy with things the way they were. Now, how can you have it in for a bow tie wearing butler? With a Trump wig on. We only have one Frank fan. Nope, he didn't do it.
Here come the meetings.
Everybody figured that he was the reason April had to leave the country about 20 years before for an extended vacation, but he was provided for. So he certainly had no motive for killing her. That leaves us with two. Carolina Boone and her medium in training Enigma. How many of you all thought he was Carolina?
Should have to. It had to be.
Now she could look guilty.
It was you. It was you all along.
No, it wasn't me. Was it?
Yes, it was. It was you.
Why?
Well, outside of Bear Stern, you were the only person here tonight who supposedly wasn't here that night 20 years ago. But you were, weren't you? April Fool. You blackmailed the Carter, Dr. Proctor, into bringing an unclaimed body from the morgue, stabbing it and pouring fresh blood all over it. With your costume on it, Frank simply assumed it was you, so he went straight to get the good Dr. Proctor and to proclaim the death. And as it was obviously a crime scene, they didn't want anybody to touch anything, so they didn't really check. You drugged me, soaked me in blood and alcohol, put me in my car, drove me to the church parking lot where you left me. And that's where the good rich Richie found me.
Why would April Fool do that?
My guess is that you found out Philippe was going to have him murdered so he could marry Felice and not have to give you any kind of settlement.
You have no way to prove that I'm April Fool.
Hey, you can change your name, face, gender, but you can't change your DNA.
Fine. I am April Fool, but I didn't kill anybody.
Slow acting butler.
It's tough getting back from the dead.
Could you grab the gun so she won't shoot me?
Squirt gun? Water in it? Yeah, you shot her with a water gun.
Actually, everybody wasn't really dead. Were you?
No.
You've been waiting 20 years for this moment.
Huh, you're right, but it's too bad none of these people were awake to hear about it all.
Actually, I was.
Me too.
We were sleeping. There we know.
Oh, is there any more champagne?
Dad, did you hear that? Did you hear who it was, Dad? Dad. Oh, yeah. Bum. He's dead.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, solves our mystery. Justice has finally been served. Thank you.